I think it's really important being down to earth. I think you're making such a big decision in life. It's not something that, you don't decide to move house overnight. It's not like you're going to buy a t-shirt. My name's James, James Churcher. I'm a family man, wife, two kids. I'm from just outside of North London, Watford originally. Mum was brought up in Liverpool. Dad was brought up in Watford. Mum moved down there, and now she's moved back up, and I'm up this way now, and that's how I've been here. I've been here for just over 20 years now. So I've always had a very strong connection to the Northwest. Um, I think the people are different. The atmosphere is a bit different. It's very friendly. Always felt very welcomed, and with having my mum's side of the family up this way, it's yeah. I've always had that strong connection to keep on coming up and coming up here since I was tiny, and yeah, it's always felt a little bit like home anyway. So lovely part of the world. My dad actually calls it the Paris of the North, believe it or not, Southport. Yeah. Some of the locals see it differently, but it's absolutely, yeah. I got into the industry really when I was younger. My stepfather, he had quite a big, large building business down south in London, doing all repair work, building work, renovation work, which is how I kind of got into property in the first place. Had quite a large property portfolio that needed looking after and managing, and that was where it all started from, really. I mean, even from a young lad carrying bags of sand and cement around building sites and helping out and doing my bit. And I think when you get into property, once it's in your blood, it's in your blood. So you just kind of go that way, and then through natural progression of other different career paths, etc., it's just led me to the estate agency world. The biggest misconception when buying properties is the process in itself. Unfortunately, in the perfect world, everyone wants to find their property first before they put theirs on the market, and that's not to it's not to come across like you want them to put it on the market first, but unfortunately, with the way of the world, if we've got vendors that we're looking after, to put a potential viewer through the front door obviously takes time, effort. They have to prepare the property, they have to get it set for a viewing. And then the misconception is that they find a property, they fall in love with a property, they want to buy that property. Actually, at that point, you're still not in a position to buy that property. You've still got to get yours on the market, find you a buyer, which all takes time, but also it can be a lot of frustration as well, because you're then trying to rush to make the process happen rather than doing it in the timely manner that works for everyone. And then if you get yours on the market first, when you do find your dream home, you're not rushed, you're not pressured, you're not having to reduce your property overnight because you're that desperate, because you've fallen in love, because most people buy a property with the heart, not the head. Obviously, business decisions they're different if it was a portfolio, but majority of the people are buying it with the heart. So yeah, the biggest misconception for me would be the actual process and the best process for the vendors to go through. I think in the world that we live in now, my advice would be keep your mindset open. Lots of people want to just move into a house that's ready for them, and I remember my first property that I bought was a two-bedroom semi-detached property in Southport, up in Crosslands, and it needed completely ripping apart, needed going back to bare brick, new kitchens, new bathrooms. We was willing to put the work in because it was the way we got on the property ladder. So for me, it would be for first-time buyers, seek some proper advice on how to for affordability. You don't need to overstretch yourself, but also be willing to take on a bit of a project, because then you're putting some equity into the property. So then if you want to move up the ladder, it's a lot easier to do it because you've got equity within your building, within your property to make that happen then. The market itself is very up and down. Um, I think if you spoke to 10 different people, they'd probably give you 10 different answers at the minute. Over the last few years, we've been through a lot with COVID and Brexit and elections and governments and changing bits and pieces, that the percentages, interest rate hikes, etc. I think it is uncertain, but one thing that I always and I do genuinely believe in is that there's an old saying that says your money's safe in bricks and mortar. And I think if you keep that as your mindset, there's always going to be ups and downs. And in the modern world that we live in, I don't know if we used to say, oh, no, the election, for example, oh, it'll be done soon and then everything will level out, or oh, Brexit, well, it'll be done soon and then everything will level out. COVID, well, hopefully it will be done soon and then everything will become back to normal. And but I think the way things are going now, there's always them ups and downs, and I think if we can just accept that it's always going to be a little bit volatile in the modern world that we live in. And as long as we go back to the original, what I said earlier on, if you do get proper advice and you know that you're in a good position, then as long as you're doing the right thing by you and your family, then that's the best thing to stick to and go for it, because it will be okay. The reason for trusting us as an estate agent over some of the others is genuinely because we care. We're a family run business. It's me and my wife Gemma. We run the business together. And I think when you're buying and selling a property, it is 9 times out of 10 the biggest asset that you're ever going to own or ever going to get involved in. And I think that for ourselves, we're there, we're willing to hold your hand through the process, and look after you, give you the best advice. Our phones are always on. A quick example: 3 weeks ago, a lady was, unfortunately, her husband had passed away. He'd always dealt with the process right up and all of that side of things. We got all the way through to the end of the process. She was due to complete on the Friday. She phones me on the Tuesday evening, and unfortunately, bless her, this was at about 9:30 at night. She was having a bit of a meltdown because of the whole process. It had all hit home with her. I spent just over half an hour on the phone, reassuring her, talking her through it, what's going to happen, how it's going to happen, and 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 what the outcome will be. Because the outcome is what she wanted, but she just needed that reassurance at the time, and she didn't obviously have anyone else to talk to at the time that was involved in the process. So she just needed that reassurance. So when we say we're a family run business and we genuinely care, we do genuinely care. Because one thing I know for sure is that they wouldn't have got hold of another agent at 9:30 at night to have a conversation about their completion on Friday, um, if they would even get hold of someone that could help them, reassure them in that way anyway. So that's one of the reasons why I believe we are an estate agent that should be trusted. And yeah, we care. We like to look after people. We're specializing in property, that we will sell a property for anyone, or find a property for anyone, whatever their needs are, whether it be a £50,000 one bed studio, or £2 million detached property, in or in Southport, Birkdale, wherever it may be. So we don't specialize in the type of property. We specialize in looking after the people. And for me, it doesn't matter where you are on the scale, where you are in the chain process, what position you're in. If you're looking at buying a property or selling a property, we've got the ability to take it on and take care of what your needs are. So we've got a branch in Ormskirk on County Road, just opposite the Hayfield pub. We opened that just over 12 months ago. We've actually just opened a brand new branch just before Christmas. That was in Maudsley. So that's open there. We've got two members of staff in there. We've got two members of staff in the Ormskirk office, and then me and Gemma, we're out on the road most of the day. Contact us on the website. You can contact us through social media. We have a really good social media following, especially in the area. Facebook, Instagram, etc. We're on all of those. So yeah, contactable through any of those channels. So the process it can be very difficult. So we very regularly, I always say to anyone, pick up the phone and talk to us whenever you need to. Just because you talk to us doesn't mean you have to come onto the market next week and we have to sell your house for us. Um, it may even go back to a little bit of the question before, with one of the preconceived ideas of actually talking to an estate agent. Doesn't mean you have to come onto the market, but at what point do you start? You have to start somewhere, and generally we need to be involved in that start, because the process has to start somewhere. So until you know what your numbers are, how do you know what you can afford? How do you know what house you can go for? How do you even know what area you want to be in or where you want to go to? So that's very much, we are approachable. Talk to us. We're here to help and advise in every way we can.